Okay, go for it,
Okay.
please.
Good evening. My name is Tom Famulari. I'm going to serve as the chairman for tonight in Kristen's absence. And I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Kristen for everything she's done for us over the past couple of years. You're our savior. And thanks for being back helping us.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's the Conservation Commission meeting, September 21st, 2022. Do I hear a motion to open the meeting?
I'll move.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the first item tonight is eelgrass harvesting to be taken to Hingham. The petition is from Mass Fish and Wildlife, is it, or Marine Fisheries?
Marine fisheries.
Marine Fisheries. So what is the status of this? Are we ready to go on this one, or?
Yes, I think Forrest is here to discuss.
Okay,
Forrest, do you want to give us an overview?
Hi, sure. Just gonna share my screen quickly.
Let me make it so you can do it. Oops. 1 second. All right, go for it.
Awesome. All right. I hope you can all see the slide, just the title slide, light screen. Yep. My name is Forrest Schenk. I work for the Habitat Project at the Massachusetts Division of Marine Fisheries out of our Gloucester field office. And one of the habitats we work on is eelgrass, which type of seagrass. It's the most predominant seagrass here in Massachusetts. And this is a project looking at restoring eelgrass in Boston Harbor, especially in Hingham Bay. So just have a couple slides overview, and then I'll open it up for questions. And feel free to interrupt me as I go as well if you have any questions. Let me see if I can get it to shift over to the next slide. So the objective, as I mentioned, is to restore a half-acre eelgrass in Hingham Bay. And we're interested in eelgrass because it's a very important fish habitat. There's lobsters, bay scallops, flounder, and small forage fish use eelgrass as habitat in Massachusetts. Eelgrass also provides a number of other important ecological functions, including dampening wave energy, helping keep sediments in place, so minimizing erosion, also stores carbon, and there's even some studies that suggest that maybe filtering harmful pathogens out of the water. So in our estuaries, eelgrass, we consider eelgrass a very important habitat, and we try to promote its expansion and growth when possible. So now zooming in on this specific project, so there's very limited, currently in Boston Harbor, there's very limited eelgrass. And Nahant is one of the nearest locations where there is thriving eelgrass beds. So on the right figure here, this is a zoomed in figure on it's based the south, I believe, western coastline of Nahant, off of Curlew Beach is where our harvest site is. And we harvest shoots. We try to keep it between 10 and 20 shoots per meter squared. Typically, eelgrass grows to 200 and 300 shoots per meter squared. So this is a very minimal impact. And at previous restorations, we have monitored harvest sites, and we don't see any long-term impacts at these sites from this kind of level of harvest. Eelgrass is pretty resilient and recolonizes those areas where we remove shoots very quickly. And then the methods we've been using is a plan for a transfer of adult shoots. So these are we collect them with the shoots with some below ground material or rhizome, and we weave them into these jute or burlap mats or discs. And this gives them a little bit more anchorage to the bottom, the sediments, to start off with, since we just have a little bit of rhizome to start. The burlap helps give them more, helps them settle on the bottom. And then with doing scuba divers, we go out and we plant those on the bottom. And so for this project, the timeline was this spring, we did test plots. So that was 600 shoots from Nahant that we tested at our proposed restoration site in Hingham. And after monitoring those after a month, unfortunately, we saw really, really low, almost no survival. So we're still trying to figure out exactly why this was, since this site was selected because in Hingham, the site was selected because it fit many of the characteristics that we thought are suitable for eelgrass. But it seems like the transplants did not take here. So at this moment, we're really not planning any more planting at this point. So it's just going to be these test plots will be the limit of this project. And yeah, with that, I'll open it up for questions. And yeah, thanks for your time.
So, I'm a little confused. So you've already done the initial harvesting for testing. So what are we asking for now?
So at that moment, this is the limit of the ask. So when we initially, I guess there's some history that initially we planned to have this meeting in the spring, but for various reasons, it's gotten postponed till now. And so I'm just giving an update of where the project stands at this moment.
But so there's an ask to take additional eelgrass, is that correct?
At the moment, no, we've done the test plots, and since they have failed, we don't quite understand why. We don't think there's value in at this point planting again there until we have a better understanding of why there was a failure.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. If it failed last time, why are we going to take more?
Right.
But,
Yeah, so we're
what's
not
the
planning.
percentage or yield or probability of it taking, across your research in the region? Is it low yield or quite high, or just really depends on the location?
It seems to depend very much on the location. We've had some success in Salem Sound and at other spots in Boston Harbor in the north part of the harbor, off of on Governor Island's Flats, which is by Logan Airport. But we also have had a number of failures around Boston Harbor, up in Gloucester. So it's spotty, and one of the challenges is getting good data in these near shore environments. There's limited data, and so a lot of it is you don't know until you try with plants in the water.
So I seem to thought I heard something about they're trying seeding them rather than transplanting.
Yes, that's becoming more popular. And so far our restoration work has focused on adult transplants, but it's something that in the future we're hoping to look and do more, especially down in farther south along the Atlantic coast in the Virginia and New Jersey areas. They've had a lot of success with seeding. So we're trying to see whether we can kind of transfer those methods up here. And there are challenges with seeding, but it does seem like it may be a promising direction.
I have a question. I'm one of the commission members. It seems to me it would be helpful to find out, you said that our eel beds are thriving. Maybe we should focus on what's different between our area where it's thriving and Hingham Bay. I mean, where there's differences. I wonder if it doesn't have something to do with the extent of traffic. Because Curlew Beach as a beach doesn't have a lot of traffic in relative to other beaches and coves on the island.
Yes, that's a really great point. And something we're still trying to understand is from the variables we measured that our proposed Hingham site does match other areas in the state where eelgrass is thriving. But there's a number of environmental conditions that we weren't able to measure. And so it seems likely that that is one of them. It's hard to get a handle on use, without being on the site all the time, which we're not able to be. But it's definitely a consideration,
Is the transplant site, I seem to recall when Logan Airport did their runway expansion, they did some eelgrass work that they took from Nahant, brought to Hingham. Is it close to that site, the transplant site?
The transplant site, no, here, I can show where it is on the map. It's on the other side of the harbor from Logan.
Okay.
So this is in the southern part of the harbor, yeah.
And did that transplantation end up being successful for the Logan Airport?
Yes, that was successful. And that's one of the reasons why we were interested in using the Nahant plants, because they've been shown to be successful in Boston Harbor. But unfortunately, in this instance, they were not.
So the transplant material you already installed, was that from Nahant? Also,
Yes.
that failed?
Yes,
When did you harvest
that was
that?
planted in May. Yeah, harvested and planted in May.
So it was harvested before you got permission to harvest it?
Right, yes.
So in the future, you really need to ask first,
Okay.
I know you tried, but yeah, not the way to do things.
Any other questions? I guess not. So we should be voting on an order of conditions for this.
There's no DEP file number,
Okay,
so I think you need to continue to the next meeting. My recommendation would be to continue to the next meeting.
okay.
I'll move that we continue it.
I second.
I have a
Um,
question,
well-
for the purposes of the minutes. Kristen, when you make a recommendation that, because there's no DP file number and that we have a continuance, what is your official title on the commission? You're just a commission member, or
I am-
you are a consultant?
I'm the conservation agent.
Got it. Thank you.
So will the applicant agree to a continuance?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
And we're working with DEP to get that number to you guys.
Okay. So do we have a motion to continue this hearing?
I so move.
Henry,
Yes.
I think Mark and Skylar may have already
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, excuse me.
yes.
okay, so let's have a vote for continuance. All those in favor, aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Do we have to do it by name because it's Zoom? I think.
Wait, you're supposed to, yes.
If we're unanimous, though.
Wow, that's true.
Yeah. I think we're okay.
Okay, good.
All right. So it continues to the next meeting.
Mhm, yeah.
Okay,
Thank you, Forrest.
All right, thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you, Forrest.
Good night.
okay, so then the next hearing is for number 4 White Way, a continuance of the flooding matter. And so Kristen,
Yes.
is this proposal that we have here a refiling?
No, he asked to change his mitigation, what he is doing for mitigation.
Right.
So it's an amendment. He's requesting an amendment.
So for the purposes of the minutes, it would be a mitigation proposal amendment.
It would be an amendment to the order of conditions.
Thank you. For amendment to the order of conditions for mitigation proposals.
Yeah. That works. David, do you want to give a overview?
Yes, so as promised, had the engineer come out from Hayes. And this is the natural swale that they designed that would alleviate the water on the street and running it through my property and draining it into 64 Willow Road's land, Mr. Arzello. And I have the permission from him. I sent it over to you guys earlier today, Kristen.
Yep. I see.
Signed, and yeah, I think this would definitely help. There is a curb cut required that would, send the water to the back of my property.
Can you just name the engineer again, please?
Hayes Engineering out of Wakefield.
Hayes Engineering, right? Okay, thank you.
This is their design.
Yes.
So David, does the design come with a project description? You know,
Um,
a narrative, a narrative that shows what we're trying to accomplish here?
For what I can tell, just from the drawing, I think it does. It shows, what pitch needs to happen for the water to drain to the back. Shows a little bit, I think we just have to go in a little bit more details with the plan. But to achieve what we're trying to do is just kind of follow the plan and do the necessary pitch to the land for that water to flow naturally to the back.
So if we look at the swale, and just outside of the swale, there's a manhole. And I can't really see it, but I think it's 5.2.
Yes.
Well, we have to go 25 feet into your yard before we hit 5.2 again. And everything in between is higher. So, I mean, basically the curb, are you taking the curb and everything out of there?
Yes, that's what they propose, is to get that curb out of there.
That's all coming up.
Yeah, because where that drain is, it dips down pretty low. Because I'm at the lowest point on the street.
Right, but you're still, before you start receiving water, it's gonna be 25 feet into your yard, isn't it? Because the rim of the manhole is 5.2.
Even the trench drain to the other side is 5.3, 5.38. So even that's lower than the swale.
So I mean, I can't, the only thing I can speak of is what we talked about is this creating a natural swale for the water to flow through. I'm not, the calculations is the calculations and the elevations. I know in that area there where the trees are, it's mulch, it's a mulch bed. So if I remove that, it should be a lot lower.
Well, but we need to have it lower up at the front end. You know, if you could lower that by 6 inches maybe, and bring it into the swale.
Lowering what part of it? Where the cobblestone is?
The approach to the where the curb cut is going to be. You know, so if we could at least get below the rim of that catch basin. Because right now what's going to happen is the catch basin is going to flood over and there's going to be a big puddle there. It seems like anyhow.
Andy, what are you doing? No. No.
So I would, so that lowering spot is on in the street, right? Is that what you're saying? It need to be.
Yeah, just to lower the approach of it. You know, perhaps you could speak with the engineer and see if you could get it to drain a little bit earlier. You know, so the water doesn't rise up quite as much in the street.
Because otherwise the water's gonna have to puddle a fair amount in the street before it starts getting into that swale.
Yeah, I mean, I can have them, I can have them, do the necessary changes to it. What I told them, and maybe I described it wrong to them, is I want something that's naturally flowing. So, but if, it's something like that, I mean, if I have to, would the town be able to help me if I have to dig down on the street?
I can't speak for what the town would do in that regard, but I mean, I'm sure you could work something out with them.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, if it's something minor, just pitching wise, that's not a problem. It's gonna flow
Yeah.
anyway.
Minor.
Yeah, I mean, David, our position on the commission is that we want to see it resolved so the neighbors are not unhappy. So, I mean, a small change to this might make a lot of difference.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I can discuss it with the engineer.
Yeah.
And see what we can do with the changes. So yeah, that's not a problem.
And the main, sorry to interject, but this is Mike Hayes. I'm at 3 White Way across the way. And, the main thing with that is that I don't know about him being on the lowest part of the street because all the water comes into our driveway. And that's the whole reason for the complaint is that whatever changed. So I'm just a little bit concerned about, these plans because I had nothing. This is the first time I saw these. And, I just want to make sure it actually works before Dave sells his house and moves out of wherever he's moving to. So that's the main thing is, whatever needs to be lowered, I hope that gets done. So I know that's what we're talking about, but
Right. So basically, what would help is if we had a statement from the engineer that the goal is to eliminate the flooding in front of the house.
right.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what Mike's talking about, but I mean, anyone can come over here and see that I'm at the lowest point on the street. And the last couple of videos I sent you with water pooling up, which was recently, Kristen, that I sent over to you. Yeah, it's up to our stairs. So I don't know. I from the video you could see Mike's yard had no water, and all the water was on my property. So
No.
Dave, I'm not sure what you're talking about. All the water is coming into our driveway, and that is absolutely not true, what you're saying.
And I have plenty of pictures of that as well.
there's pictures of that. So
The water is coming into our yard now.
I think elevation wise, the Hayes's house is lower. You go kind of down into their driveway.
Right. Yes.
I think maybe you guys need to do a site walk and determine that, because that's untrue.
I have plenty of pictures as well to show.
Yeah, so I mean, instead of just going back and forth, why don't you? It'll be nice if you guys can take a site walk, and we can get some sort of measuring device and we can talk about elevation here because.
Well, when you look at the plan you have in front of us, I mean, whatever. I think that it would be useful if the DPW looked at this before the commission approved it. We just got this, so I haven't had a chance to have Zach look at it.
Yeah, I literally just got it yesterday, Kristen, when I sent you a message. As soon as I got it, I forwarded it over because it took forever with these guys. So
Yeah, they're slow. I talked to Peter Ogren earlier this week and he said he'd try to get it ready for today.
yeah, I told him today was the meeting and I really needed it. So he kind of pushed forward and kind of helped me out on that. So.
But I do think it would be valuable for the DPW director to review it before the commission approves it.
I also have a statement from Pat Demmett, who used to occupy the house, as to how the water dispelled through the streets and over onto our yard as well.
Do you want to read that or do you want to submit it by email?
I'd like to submit it, please.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
Can you say your name? Are you the partner of Mike Hayes? I'm not sure who's
Yes, I'm-
talking.
Yes, I'm Mike's partner, his wife,
What's your name?
Carol Hayes.
Carol Hayes. So you have a statement from the prior owners of 4 White Way?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get clarification for the minutes.
Just in regard to the water on the street and where it collected. So, yeah, it changed quite a bit after, I mean, obviously there was grass and dirt where there is now cement. I mean, and we're directly across the street from him. We are slightly lower in elevation. So the
Did you have an
water,
engineer that told you you were lower or are you just making a statement? So.
I think you guys need to communicate via the chair, not to each other directly.
Yep, Dave, I think that's pretty obvious.
She said
So,
through the chair.
Okay, Kristen,
Please.
yeah,
All right.
so,
Tom's the chair.
okay,
Oh.
so
All right, so
I believe,
I-
not through an engineer, I believe the way that water travels, that it goes to the lowest point. So I think that we're probably the lowest point, but neither here nor there. The main thing is getting this fixed before the house is sold. That's really the main thing. And that's what our beef is.
So,
So Dave, would it be possible to have a site visit at your house and have your engineer be there?
Yeah, we just need to plan it ahead, so that way, I know they're pretty tough to kind of nail down.
Sure.
So
And
if-
we could,
can,
and we could also get Zach to be there at the same time.
Yeah, so I mean, if you guys want to just let me know, and I can do my best to have Peter over here. Or just someone from Hayes.
And Kristen, would you be able to let me know, or Henry, maybe someone on the board, let me know when that's going to happen so I can be present as well?
Yes, but you'd only be able to participate from the street unless the property owner gives you permission to go on his property.
That's fine.
Just so you know.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought,
Okay.
you know, evaluate our water as well.
Okay, so
I have another question, which is sort of, assuming we do the site visit and we get this all straightened out, what's the process or method of making sure that the next owner doesn't fill in the trench or the swale? How do we protect that?
So the swale would be, you could put it as a condition in perpetuity on the order of conditions that it can never be filled and it has to be maintained. And so it would carry with the deed forever.
Yeah.
That way, if anything happened, you guys could take enforcement action against them if somebody else were to fill it.
And so now, Kristen, another question. What if the proposed solution doesn't actually work?
Then we don't have to issue then you don't have to issue a certificate of compliance for it.
But how long, I mean, that could be a real crapshoot. How long do you have to wait to,
You could condition it that you want to go through a storm season,
Okay.
if you wanted to, spring or something.
Okay.
It would be up to you guys how you decided to do that, but you can do that to make sure it works.
All right, do we have any other questions?
Tom, this is Mark Pillsbury at One White Way.
Hi, Mark.
I'm having a hard time seeing the plans here, but is the swale that's being proposed, I'm assuming it's to the left of the house as you look at the house, so that's over next to the Gilbert's property line?
Yes.
So that seems like it would be a really good solution. I'm all for it. Thank you.
And Mark,
Okay.
I can drop off the plans for you to look at as well. This is kind of hard to see.
I think the concern was that before the mitigation was being talked about on the other side of the property, and this seems like it would make a whole lot more sense. Thank you.
I can confirm because I've just completed the marathon minutes for that July meeting in which we asked the owner, we pointed out to the owner that where he had initially proposed a well was on the wrong side of the property for where the flooding occurred. So that's where that first, he came up with a weeping willow, a well, a number of mitigations that we all felt were insufficient to address the flooding on the left-hand side of the property as you face the house. So that's correct.
Any other comments?
I would just like to say thank you to the board for your help with this situation. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So David, will you agree to a continuance?
Yeah, of course. And yeah, it'd be great if you guys can do that site visit and we can kind of clear up a lot of the, the back and forth.
But I would really insist that DPW has a chance to look at the plans before we do the site visit, or it's not going to be I'm assuming, David, because you're trying to sell the house, that you want this to be an efficient process.
Yes.
If they don't have a chance to look at the plans, they can just show up at the site and not really, if they're looking at it for the first time. I mean, they need to look at these specifications and speak with Hayes Engineering to get their questions answered, and it will make the site visit a lot more efficient.
Yeah, I mean, I can drop off a copy to Zach tomorrow just to kind of
Okay.
help.
Okay.
That's not a problem at all.
So I would recommend that you schedule a site visit for the first or second week of October, because, I mean, I don't even think, or the end of next week, because that gives time for Zach to look at things. I mean, it takes 2 seconds for Zach to look at this, but the sooner you do the site visit, if there are things you want changed, it gives the engineer to make time to make changes for the next meeting. The next meeting being October 19th.
I think also, as Tom asked for a description from the engineer, I mean, perhaps they could add a page to this that, you know, that summarizes the goals and why they think they're going to make it happen, or just so everybody's clear on that.
That's easy for them. Okay, so do you guys want to identify some dates for a site visit, or do you want to do that offline?
Well, let's make a motion to have a site visit. I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that's a unanimous vote. So do we have, are we thinking about any dates right now?
I think the sooner you choose a date, the easier you're going to have to get everybody there.
Well, we have had success at making dates on early mornings, like maybe before people leave for work, around 8 on a Wednesdays or Thursdays. Is that,
That might not work for Hayes Engineering though.
oh, right, okay.
So
So
Good
Tony
point.
Capichetti is the engineer that did this, and he was the one that met us for 12 Spouting Horn. And that was at 8 a.m. So I think he could probably.
So maybe David should call them and see when they might be available and get back in touch with us.
Yeah, I can make a call first thing in the morning, and then I can email you guys. And we can kind of
Okay.
take it from there, but I will drop off a copy to Zach to kind of speed up the process of them getting their eyes on it as well, and whatever questions they may have.
Should we pick some times and then see if they're available at those times? That seems like it might be.
Thursdays are better. Thursdays are better for me than Wednesdays.
I can do Thursdays as long as it's before 8 or at 8, right at 8, and then I have to go after the meeting.
Yeah, I can usually do Thursdays too.
Yeah, same.
On Thursday,
Okay, do you want to do September 29th? That's next Thursday. I mean, we're not going to be able to get it together for tomorrow.
No.
Good for me.
That
What do
would
people
work.
feel about September 29th? And then,
What if you offer the 29th and the 6th?
yeah, both, yes, correct. Would that,
Yeah, I can make-
Both at 8 a.m.
please.
Yeah, that's fine. I will call them tomorrow and do the best I can, and I'll keep you guys posted.
okay,
Okay, so you guys have to make a motion to continue then.
Do I hear a motion to continue?
I move.
I second.
Thanks, Skylar. All those in favor of continuance for the 4 White Way matter?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. All right, so I guess that's it for the agenda for right now. Is there anything else we want to talk about?
We could talk about the penalty fees.
I wasn't able to get my act together for tonight. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It was too much. Next meeting, I promise it'll be ready.
So I just, for me, the other question I had was just, now that we have an agent, and I attended a MACC call our class last night and they polled everybody attending, which were 80 or 90 people from around Massachusetts, and less than 10% did not have an agent. So we're
Yeah.
really lucky, and I'm pleased that we were able to get Kristen. So my only question is, is there any process where we have to do anything to ask for your assistance on stuff, or is that all taken care of? We can just ask.
I don't know. We haven't really formalized how that's going to work. I guess I just assumed I'd keep doing the same stuff that I already
Right.
did, but
Right.
it's up to you guys if you want me to do that or not. If you want to do more stuff, less stuff, it's up to you.
Not less.
I guess my one request is, I don't know if you guys would be willing to consider this, adopting electronic signatures. I would
Sure.
have everybody's electronic signature. We wouldn't have to meet and do this. It's free to record it at the Registry of Deeds. I could just slap everybody's name on a piece of paper and not have to meet everybody all the time.
Yeah.
It'd make it
I like
easier for you,
that.
Mark.
Definitely.
Yes, please do.
Yes.
Yeah,
All right. Although it's not formally on the agenda, we can vote to do that if you guys would be comfortable doing that.
it's under other business.
Yes, it is. It's other business that arose. So somebody would need to make a motion to adopt electronic signatures per Mass General Law. Somebody would second it, everybody would vote. And then I'd record something at the Registry of Deeds saying that it's okay. And at the site visit, I could get everybody's signature and then I'll make them electronic and I'll just slap them on permits from now on. If you're comfortable with that.
Yes, please.
Okay.
All right, can we have a motion to adopt electronic signatures?
I'll move that.
Second.
I'll second.
All those in favor of electronic signatures?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Can we do a roll call just to be super formal, please?
Okay, Mark Paddock, aye.
Tom Fenimore,
I, Colleen,
Skylar, aye.
Eden
Henry.
Minor.
Sorry.
I think that's everybody. Tom, did you do you?
I did.
Perfect. Okay. I think that would make everybody's life a lot easier. And I promise I will only use them for things that we talked about at the meeting. I won't slap them on other things.
do you have the actual address for the Salem Registry of Deeds?
I actually went there today to record electronic signatures for Middleton. Registry. It's, let's see, 45 Congress Street, unit 4100.
There's also a rumor going around that you cannot actually file online. You have to hire a lawyer to do it for you.
To file what online?
To file a DEP, to file a order of conditions.
No, you can do it yourself.
So that's not true, that you have
That's
to have
not
a
true.
lawyer. Okay, thank
So if you
you.
go to salemdeeds.com, there's a thing to record something and you can record it yourself on there. There is,
Okay.
it does cost $5 more than going to the registry though,
Okay,
but you can do it, anybody can do
Okay.
it. Okay, cool. The other thing is we really have to choose a chair. Somebody's gonna have to do it. You guys could all be interim chairs. You could take turns if you wanted to. Everybody could, you could rotate through it and everybody would do it like once a year, twice a year. But you really don't have to do anything other than show up and do what Tom did tonight. I will do everything else for you guys. I promise it won't be a burden. So
lie down.
we can punt until next meeting if you want. And somebody else can take a turn.
I'll nominate Henry. Got the big grin on his
I
face.
second nominating him.
And I'll volunteer to be in December and January when he's got to run the stores.
I can't do it. My wife will kill me. As is, it's questionable. So I like the idea of the rotation personally. We all carry the burden. And I'm most amenable to that.
I mean, if you do that, everybody gets once a year, you do it. And then
Yeah.
nobody can be pinned and, cornered in the street as the chair.
That's true.
Good point.
Fair.
Maybe that's a good option,
Yeah.
a good compromise. We could try it until they force us to choose a formal one. See what happens.
Yeah.
Who would do that?
I don't know if Tony or the selectmen might not enjoy that move. I'm not
Well, how
sure.
would the selectmen like to be the Conservation Commission?
They could, they could weigh in. I mean, I think, why not rotate?
Yeah.
It's really not a lot of work. It's what Tom did tonight.
Yeah.
You know, there's 6 of you, so you do it twice a year, each of you.
And the secretary gets a bye because she's working hard at the meetings.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah, there you go.
I spent 3 hours on doing minutes
I
today.
know. I'm sorry.
Kind of sucks, but I got it down to a science, I think, so.
Usually they're not going to be that big of a deal.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Look, I had to pay an engineer $150 an hour for me to go second to last.
I know. I'm sorry.
That sucks too.
Okay. Anybody, anything else? I don't have anything else.
Oh, Colleen's point that was, I never even thought about, but I asked the question at the MAC thing I was attending was, as far as the, setting the agenda on the sequence of who's on as opposed to who filed first.
Yep.
But, maybe that you do focus on homeowners or smaller projects that, are probably going to be a neg def, first, so people don't have to have an engineer sit there for long hours. I don't know how we do that as a formal policy, but.
I usually do it based on filing, and then I put Northeastern last. I didn't think of it, Colleen. I apologize. That was my mistake. I should have put you. I was like, well, Colleen's there, so it didn't even occur to me. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's just
But-
that, I basically am paying for Nahant, for Northeastern to spout off for 3 hours. I mean, that's $450.
I'm sorry. It didn't occur to me.
Yeah.
I won't make that
It's
mistake
water
again.
under the bridge, but maybe we can spare somebody else from doing that.
Yes. I will.
Because the Northeastern thing is always a big deal, and we're listening to, literally there were 10 members of the public who wanted to give their little spiel about what they felt we should do, even though it didn't apply to that project, like the lobster hatchery and all these other things that didn't apply, but we still have to air all those concerns into the people,
I apologize. It was my fault. I didn't expect you to have an engineer there, honestly. So I will not do it again. I will be more
Okay.
cognizant of it. I apologize. Okay. So we'll work on figuring out a date for the site walk. I'll talk to Zach and we'll finalize that as soon as we can.
And I think when we do have that site visit, let's just try to come up with as best as we can. I think most of the flooding that occurs is usually in the fall and the spring.
Mm.
That's my feeling, is that that's when the most flooding happens. We should like to come up with some time frame to go along with Tom's idea that we wait to see if it works.
So we can't talk about that now because we already closed the meeting on that.
Oh,
So we'll revisit it at the site walk, okay? Or at the next meeting. Sorry, but we
Okay.
formally closed it.
Okay, so can we have a motion to adjourn?
I so
I second.
second.
All those in favor?
bye.
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Right.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks all.